Hi everybody, this is Angie from Tourangie.com, and today I'm in Bluefield and the railroad tracks are over on my left here, and I figured I would talk about a ghost story. I found it on AppalachianHistory.net, and the original story came from Denise Smith that lives in Rocky Gap, and it was posted on the website by Dave Tabler. So I would recommend going to AppalachiaHistory.net. There's some neat stuff there to read. But I'm going to read you, I'm going to read you a portion of what this about this ghost story. So now I'll be reading directly from the website. Railroad workers know a few ghost stories surrounding the rails of Appalachia. In the 1980s, when my ex-husband worked for Norfolk and Western, he worked with a man named Colonel Dotson, who was an engineer. Colonel had stopped by the house one day on his way home from work to return a tool that he had borrowed from my husband. When I answered the door, he spoke as he came in, and then I got the story. He looked shaken, and this was a man that was not easily shaken. Did you hear about the old woman they hit and killed on the railroad crossing down below Lebanon last night? He asked. Didn't happen on my shift, he said, but I got to the train station. I got the train to go on into Bluefield. He had heard it on the news the following night that the person had been hit and killed by the train. Trains hitting people happen several times a year, some quite tragic, such as children not knowing any better, folks sleeping on the tracks or getting mangled under the train, or someone trying to beat a crossing in a car. Some are lucky and get out with their life when they tangle with the train, but some are not. The colonel shook as he spoke and told us the tale. Well, whoever they hit, she haunted the train all night. We had to take the railroad taxi to relieve the crew. The engineer that hit her said she didn't move at all off the tracks when he blew the horn as hard as he could. He put it in emergency as soon as he saw that she was not moving and she was just standing there. He said he saw her face and she just looked angry and was intentionally trying to get hit, but she screamed the loudest blood-curdling scream he'd ever heard as the train hit her. The train mangled her body under the wheels before it could stop. The colonel said I assured him the world was full of crazy people. As soon as he got to the train, the colonel said the engineer's compartment was cold like an icebox, and here it was midsummer. The railroad, they radioed him that because the train had been involved in an accident, it was to not stop but move directly to Bluefield Yards so it could be checked out. So it was a straight shot. The colonel told the tale. Every road crossing we would use the train's warning whistle. Then we would hear what sounded like a blood-curdling woman's scream. Make the hair on your neck stand up. The doors on the engineer's compartment would then shake like someone was trying to get in a couple times. The doors flew open on their own with the cold, icy wind that banged them furiously open and shut. The brakeman who rode with him would have to fight with some unknown forces to close and latch them. In between the crossings, the window would frost up like it was winter, but the control handles on the train would be so hot that he had to use gloves to put my hands on them. All the way to Bluefield. I've seen some pretty strange things in my life, but never something like this. When he finally pulled the train into Bluefield, he was so relieved to get off. He just stood looking at the railroad engine, wondering what they had just experienced was real. That's when he noticed on the outside of the train hadn't been cleaned off before he got on. Some of the old woman's hair, blood, and body parts were still under the train. Getting ready to leave, he had a piece of paper on the table. Here is the number of that engine. You get it sometime and strange things will happen. You will know why.